The New York Times editorial board is out with an expansive, interactive piece this morning asking this question: are we losing our democracy? In it, the editorial board lays out 12 benchmarks of what it calls democratic erosion, from the stifling of dissent to the persecution of political opponents. The editorial board argues that the United States has regressed on all 12. The piece concludes this way: the United States is not an autocracy today. It still has a mostly free press and independent judiciary, and millions of Americans recently attended the No Kings protests. But it has started down an anti-democratic path, and many Americans, including people in positions of power, remain far too complacent about the threat. Joining us now, MSNBC senior political analyst and Pod Save America contributor, Alex Wagner. She's the host of the recently launched podcast, Runaway Country, presented by Crooked Media. Alex, so great to see you.
You too.
Today. Thank you, and congrats on the podcast.
Thank you.
Let's start there. I mean, the themes in that editorial are some that I know, cover, in the podcast and elsewhere. What do you think? Where is the country right now? Are we sliding down? Is the New York Times right to be sounding the alarms?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would argue you should maybe sound them a little louder. I don't think we should be wasting too much time debating where on the slide towards full-blown authoritarianism we are, but we should just acknowledge that we are in a very dangerous place in terms of the survival of liberal democracy and a representative government. The show is, I think, trying to tackle a certain amount of numbness that I think is set in among the American public to a degree, just because Trump's authoritarian moves are so rapid and they're so continual, that I think it's desensitized people to the ways in which they're eroding our basic freedoms, and I think it has become so vast, the degradation of the institutions, the encroachment upon basic civil rights, that people have a hard time getting their heads around that. And so one of the ways we're trying to, shake people out of their slumber, if you will, is by focusing on people in the first part of the podcast who are at the center of these headlines and policies, whether they're immigration court judges, whether they're soybean farmers, whether they are air traffic controllers, whether they are activists who are fighting gerrymandering in red states. And I think one of the things we have to do as journalists is tell the stories, because the way people become engaged, and I think honestly emotionally attached enough to stay engaged, is by attaching themselves to stories, by feeling the stakes. And the human story is the most universal story, and understanding these policies and politics on the most basic experiential level, I think, is key to re-engaging with a lot of these topics that seem vast and sort of in the distance and not immediately as dangerous as they actually are.
So, Alex, Claire McCaskill is with us and has the next question.
Alex, good to see you.
It's so good to see you.
So here's the deal. You are out there talking to people around the country, maybe more so than any other journalist that works for and with our network. I want to know, when you talk to people, it feels like that we are really worried about democracy. Those of us who pay very close attention every day, those of us who have been part of government, we're really worried, and we talk about it a lot. But when I go to the grocery store, that's not what people are talking about. Yeah, they think Trump's a jerk. And he's doing stuff he shouldn't be doing. But they really, whether you're a soybean farmer that you mentioned, they're worried about their markets for soybeans. If you're in a rural community, which 94% of the counties that are rural in this country voted for Donald Trump, you're worried about your health care costs and whether or not there's either going to be a hospital if there's an emergency. How are you seeing this threat to democracy land with these average voters out there, where economics is real to them, but this seems theoretical to them at this point?
Well, I think we can unpack that a little bit, right? First of all, what Trump's doing to our trading partners, what he's doing in terms of diminishing America's role in the world, and also, going back on the promise of America that stretches back decades. That economic aggression that is part of a larger portfolio of tools to establish more of an authoritarian regime in the White House. So I don't think we should divorce the economic pain from actually the erosion of democracy writ large, right? And I think when you talk to people, the focus of the show and the focus of my work as a journalist is to understand how people are feeling, not necessarily pain, but how they're engaged in the issues in their real lives. lives, right? I'm not going to talk to the soybean farmer about, you know, the firing of DOJ career prosecutors. I'm going to talk to him about the economic pain and how that dovetails with his support or lack of support for Trump, because I think we all need to understand how all of these policies are playing out at the grassroots level, at the immediate sort of human level. So you're going to hear about different topics, all of which I would argue are part of the erosion of our democracy, told by different narrators. Some of these characters are going to come back and forth in the show. I want people to get familiar with the American experience again, Claire, because I think one of the things we do just in this vast country that we live in is we've lost the sense of shared community, and that's essential to the democracy surviving.
Sadly, we have to leave it there, but we heartily recommend new episodes of the podcast Runaway Country, which are released every Thursday, and the Substack titled How the Hell with Alex Wagner. I love it. Available to read online now.